Hello everyone, Happy New Year! It's been 6 weeks since I put out an update to the Medusa deploy template and quite a few things have happened in between. Well, I've been busy looking into a CMS, namely Payload, to see whether it makes sense integrating it into this template, and currently I'm still looking at more options, so we won't be getting Payload in this deploy template, at least not for now. But let's get right to all the good stuff that has happened. So I've updated all the core dependencies. We are now at version 2.1.3. Now, a few days ago, Medusa did come with just another one. So they are now one version higher, and it is the 2.2.0. So I'm expecting to also update the template in the near future to that version as well. And then the cherry on top of the pie, we are finally getting a search integration for Medusa 2.0. This is probably the most requested feature. I've seen so many people asking for it on the internet, including myself, and I've been playing the waiting game. I've said, should I create an integration for MeiliSearch myself? But I thought, you know what, if I do that, I'm sure that the Medusa core team will release their own right after I do it. So I've been very hesitant doing it myself, but thankfully someone from the community took the initiative and created and shared this amazing module that I've been using. And I'll just show you quickly what that looks like. So if we go to the storefront here, you see that if I expand the search field, I'll now see all the products in my store, and I only have the demo products. And we can actually search for it. So if I write sweat here, we'll find all the products that matches sweat. There will be sweatpants and shirt. But MeiliSearch can do more than just that. It is a very powerful search engine, and it can actually do some, it has a margin of error tolerance to typos and misspelling. So if your customers are trying to find a product and they slightly misspell it, then MeiliSearch should match it still. I can show you one example is if I write short here, then it will also list the shirt because there's just one character difference between shirt and short. If I do shorts, it still matches it, and if I do shorts with 2 S's, then we are now 3 characters away from shirt, but it's still just 1 away from short, so it matches that. And I believe that this tolerance can be either disabled if you don't like it or adjusted to your own level. I haven't looked into it myself, but you're smart, so you can probably figure out how to do it. This search integration is already available on the deploy template, but if you have a project that was launched earlier than my implementation, you can still find a guide here on my blog. So if you go to funkytongue.com, then it's currently the most top one. Look for the one with the MeiliSearch logo on it, and if you go in here, there is all the steps you need to perform to get the integration into your Medusa project. And though this is meant for a railway, I also put out a little information on how you can do it with Docker or using MeiliSearch Cloud. So this guide should be sufficient for you to implement MeiliSearch in your own Medusa project. I'll also be putting out a little video on the railway setup of it, but it will not be part of this video. It will be a separate one. All right, let's head back here and see the other new stuff is that the storefront now supports static images. So if I go back to the storefront and close out of the search field here, and I've added one image here to the front just to show it. And this is this cute little kitty wishing you a happy 2025. If I open up VS Code, you can see that I am putting an image in the public folder, and it wouldn't work before because, well, the way the storefront was configured. So I've changed some configurations, and you can now import images just like this, and with the relative path points to the public folder. So this is how you add images. So you can now really customize the look and feel of your storefront with images, not only on the front page, but on other pages as well. Last thing I want to mention is that the deploy template is really growing in size. So if we take a look at it here on Railway, this is the default deploy template that most of you are using, I believe. And this, with the MeiliSearch integration added, it now has 7 services. And I found out recently that Railway will only allow trial users to launch a total of 5 services. So this template in itself has 2 more services than is possible to launch as a trial user. And therefore I decided to make a trial version of this template. So if we head back to my blog, and we find the main Medusa 2.0 post, and we scroll down to the deploy section. Well, this is the button to the normal deploy template, but this requires you to be a hobby user. And now I also created this one here that is a trial version. So if we open up this one and take a look, you'll see that it has trial in the name. This is how you find it, and it has just 5 services. So you should be able to use it to test out and see if this project is even for you. But this one doesn't come with the console for the bucket storage, and it also doesn't have MeiliSearch. So you won't be able to do any search with the trial template, but at least you can try around and see if you like the storefront and the backend and the admin dashboard and all that stuff. All right, and then to some less exciting news. So there is a little issue with the storefront. It's being less performant than it used to, and I'm not sure exactly why. So I've been trying to do a little bit of debugging, rolling back the storefront to an old version where I know it was fast and snappy, and that didn't solve the issue. It was still slow. And then I tried rolling back the backend to the same point in time, and it was still slow as well. And I know also a few things have happened on Railway, so maybe there is some configuration that is not quite right, that is causing the storefront to be a little bit less snappy. But this is on my radar, and I hope to have a solution for it soon. Another thing is just 2 users have reported an issue when uploading media. So when you create new product in the admin dashboard, they would get an error. And I got an email from one guy here saying that the failed to upload file, something with the signature. And he also provided me with a solution to the problem. So what you need to do is to go log into the console with your credentials that you find right here, and then you create a new API key and add that API key to the bucket configuration. And I'll make sure to put out a very short video exactly how you do that, but it will not be part of this video. But the bottom line is that there is a few users that have reported an error, and I haven't been able to reproduce it myself, but there is a solution to it, and I'll put out a video on that. All right, lastly, I want to talk a little bit about future plans of this Medusa project. And the main thing that I'll be doing in the future is to create a new server architecture. So if we take a look here at my current draft, you'll see that this is even larger than the normal deploy template. And that's because the backend has now been split up into 2, so a backend server and a backend worker. And they have different purposes. So the server is like the API for the storefront, and it handles a few other things as well, like the admin dashboard. And then the worker is to perform scheduled tasks and stuff like that. And this is supposed to make it more production ready and more performant. This is what Medusa recommend doing. So this is the architecture I am leaning towards implementing. But this is not working. This is something work in progress, and I have no idea at all when this will be ready. Another thing that I'm also trying to do is to internalize some of all the networking. So right now the backend and the storefront is talking to each other through the public network, and it can be done internally. So the request never leaves the Railway server house, but it's a little bit complicated. So this is something I'm still looking into, and I might have to create this little gateway thing for the admin dashboard, because the backend server can only really host the application on one URL, and if I choose the internal one, then there's no way to access the admin dashboard from the public network. But if I choose the public one, then I cannot have any internal connection between the storefront and the backend. So I think the solution will be to make this one communicate internally, and then have an internal connection to this little gateway thing here. And then you can access the gateway through a public URL on this one and public URL on the storefront. So just like how the storefront works, basically. So that's the future plan of the deploy template here. All right, final item on the list is a few words on Coolify. And no, unfortunately, you're not getting Coolify today, but I've been playing around with it because I do agree that it would be very nice to be able to launch this whole project elsewhere than just Railway. So I've been looking into Coolify, as many have suggested, and while Coolify is really cool, It didn't really meet my expectations, so I had to spend a lot of time just trying to connect a database container to the backend, and I had to stop because it was consuming too much time. And the reason was that the Docker container for the Postgres database in Coolify is a little bit more simple than the Railway one, and it does not automate the process of generating SSL certificates and setting up encryption, which the Medusa backend requires. At least I haven't been able to use an unsecure connection. Also prefer to use a secure connection. And I looked into the steps required to manually set up the certificates, and that is just so much work that I could make a video on how to do it and do it myself, but it would be many steps, and I would fear that something would change in a few months and then the video is obsolete and things have to be done in a different way. Also, it's not gonna be more cost effective. With Coolify, you are gonna need one server to host the platform itself, and then you need multiple servers for all the different containers, or a powerful one that has virtual CPU cores that can host more. So for now, Railway is easier, and it's easier to automate the whole setup process, less manual step required, and it's also cheaper. And for that reason, I just cannot justify spending hours and hours and hours on setting this project up on Coolify for now. If something changes with Coolify in the future, if they create a Postgres image that is automating SSL certificate, maybe I'll give it another shot, because I really also do like the idea of having multiple options for hosting and not just one. But as for now, I'll just stick with Railway because it works and it is easy and it is very cheap. But that is all for this video. I am expecting to be putting out an ultra short video on how you set up the new API key in the bucket storage, in case you are one of the few that runs into this error right here. And then I'm also going to put out a little longer video on how you set up the MeiliSearch container in Railway to accommodate those of you who launched the template earlier before I implemented it, and you want to keep your existing project and add in the MeiliSearch integration into your already existing project. Or maybe you have your own Medusa project that you started in a completely different way and want to try MeiliSearch, and then you can also watch that video to see how to set up the container in Railway. But that's gonna be all for now. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.